Very good morning, students. Hi, I'm Ms. Rukmani Shah here, your biology teacher, and we'll be continuing chapter 3, which we have the portions which we have completed and the portions which we are supposed to proceed with. So we'll be continuing with today with Bryophytes, which is a major group of the plantae kingdom. So in our previous class, we have seen the major group of the plantae kingdom, algae. So today we'll start with Bryophytes. Okay, so Bryophytes are known as the amphibians of plant kingdom. Bryophytes are known as the amphibians of the plant kingdom. Why so? Because they live on land but they depend on water for sexual reproduction. Okay, so that's why they are known as the amphibians of plant kingdom. As we know, the meaning of amphibians means the animals or organism which are dependent both on land and water. Like how frogs, they live on land, but when it comes for laying eggs, they go to water body. Okay, so in the same manner, the bryophytes are the plants which for sexual reproduction they need water, but they live on land. Okay, and where do you find these amphibians? The habitats are in damp, moist and shady, humid places. In this type of places you find bryophytes, and bryophytes are also important for plant succession. Bryophytes are important for plant succession. Now what is plant succession, or what does succession means? See, whenever an ecosystem develops, it develops from the scratch, or from the primary level or from the medium level. Okay, succession means the ecosystem which you see around yourself, the trees and the forest which you see around yourself, it was not from the beginning like this, right? It started from the scratch. Okay, that area or that land was a barren land, and then it started with the mosses and lichens they develop, and then shrubs have come, herbs have come, then later on gradually the trees have come. Okay, so that process of developing the living organism in the ecosystem is known as succession. Okay, so in plant succession means a forest. When you visit a forest, you see that the forest is filled with trees, herbs, shrubs and bryophytes, pteridophytes, all the smaller group of organisms are also there. So that forest was actually started with the bryophytes. Okay, the any plant ecosystem, wherever you see a plant ecosystem, then you should understand that the plant system has started from bryophytes. So that's why bryophytes helps in the plant succession. I will see the structure of bryophytes, how their structure appears. Structure of bryophytes are thallus-like and prostrate. And with rhizoids. And they lack true roots, stems and leaves. And the main plant body is the main body is haploid, which produces gamete. It's the gametophyte, so they are known as gametophyte. And this main plant body they produces gametes, so that's why they possess sex organs. They possess sex organs. So male sex organ is known as antheridium. And female sex organ is known as archegonium. So this male sex organ produces the male gamete known as biflagellate antherozoid. The male gamete, like how in human the male gamete is known as sperm, here male gametes are known as antherozoids. And this female gamete, they produce single egg cell. So this is the structural part we see. The bryophytes, they are thallus-like. Thallus, as we have discussed earlier, they are a very simple body organization, okay, but here some complex organization also can be seen, okay. So prostrate means the part of the plant which are growing along with the ground, okay. You must have seen shrubs and herbs and trees. Their roots are attached to the ground, and rest of the part of the body, they grow outside the ground, away from the ground, okay. In shrubs and in herbs and in trees, you see roots are attached to the ground, rest of the body parts grows away from the ground. But in case of bryophytes, you will see that, suppose this is the ground, and the plants, they will be growing along with the ground, okay. They won't be growing away from the ground, but they will be growing along with the ground, okay. So if, for example, another, suppose this is ground, and if there are some plants which grows away from the ground also, but their face will be facing towards the ground, okay, that nature is known as prostrate, okay, or they will be growing along with the ground. So they don't have a definite parts like roots, stem, leaves. They don't have that definite parts. So that's why I'm drawing the structure like this. So structure which do not show any stem, root or leaves, okay, but they look like leaf-like structure. This part looks like stem, and the hook which helps this plant to remain attached to the ground, that part is called rhizoids, okay. Rhizoids have the root hair or small root hair or root hair like, or the small hook like structure which helps them to attach with the soil or the ground, that part is called rhizoids, okay. They are root like, and this part is stem like, and this part is leaf like, okay, but they don't have actual root, stem or leaf, alright. So this is the structure of the bryophyte, that is how the bryophytes will look like. And bryophytes, their main body, suppose this is the main body. So this main body, they are haploid. Haploid means having only one set of chromosome, okay. Having one set of chromosome is known as haploid, okay. Like we have 46 chromosome, and if some of our cell will have 23 chromosome, it means that cell is haploid, okay. For example, our gametes, they contains 23 number of chromosome. My ova and any female body's ova or any male body's sperm, okay. So it has 23 number of chromosome. That means generally our cells have 46 number of chromosome. So when you have half, that is one set of chromosome, okay, so that is known as haploid condition. So in bryophytes, the main body is haploid, having only one set of chromosome. Haploid means only one set of chromosome. So that's why they are known as, the main body is known as gametophyte. And this main body has sex organ, okay. So please refer, while you go through this chapter, while you go through this portion of bryophytes, please refer to the diagram from figure 3.2, okay. The diagrams which are given in figure 3.2. So you can refer and see that the diagram of Martian is given, where the structure, leaf-like structure is attached to the soil. See, leaf is attached to the soil. So this nature of attaching to the soil is known as prostrate. Okay, they are prostrate. So the leaf is not growing upward towards the against the ground. And in this leaf, you will see there is an outgrowth where it is labeled as antheridium. And there is another leaf here, leaf-like, okay, because this bryophytes, they don't have true leaf or true stem. They have leaf-like structure. So there is another structure which is growing here, which is called archegonia. Okay, archegonia. So this plant body, this leaf-like structure which you see, this is what? This is gametophyte. Okay, gametophyte. So this gametophyte give rise to sex organ antheridium, sex organ archegonium, male sex organ antheridium, which produces the male gamete. Biflagellate. Biflagellate means the male gamete will have two flagella. Alright, it will have two flagella. And archegonium, which is the female sex organ, it will produce single egg cell. Okay, single egg cell. Now what happens here? The fusion of this antherozoids and the egg cell takes place to form a zygote in the water. Now again I'll draw that structure. Antheridium. This is archegonium. So what happens? Archegonium, it appears to be very big here, but actually they are very small. They remain attached to the soil. So through the help of water, okay, when it is rainy season, then only they will opt for sexual reproduction when water is available. They also opt for vegetative reproduction, that is asexual reproduction, that we will see later. But since we are talking about their amphibian nature, we will talk about their sexual reproduction first. So to do sexual reproduction, they depend on water. Okay, so they wait for the rainy season to come, and when it is filled with water, then only the antheridium will release the antherozoids. And we know that antherozoids, they have two flagella. Right? These antherozoids have two flagella, biflagellate antherozoids. So this flagella will help them to swim towards the egg cell. And when it reaches to the egg cell, the fusion will take place. The male gamete and the female gamete will fuse. Okay? Fusion of gamete will take place. And this fusion of gamete will lead to the formation of zygote. Now when male gamete is haploid and female gamete is haploid, that means one set of chromosome, both of them they have, because this is gametophyte. And gametophytes are haploid, having only one set of chromosomes. So their gamete also will be haploid. The egg cell which is present here will be haploid, and the antherozoid, the male gamete also will be haploid. So when they fuse together, so haploid, male gamete haploid fused with female gamete haploid, then what will happen? It will lead to the formation of diploid zygote. Okay, zygote will be formed which are diploid. Now this zygote will be diploid, and this zygote will develop into, let me consider a structure, this as a zygote, single cell structure, which is diploid. And it will develop into, by mitosis division, then it will develop into multicellular structure called sporophyte. Called sporophyte. So what is the nature of sporophyte? They are diploid. Okay, they are diploid in nature. Why? Because the sporophyte is developed from zygote, and zygote is diploid. So when diploid cell will divide mitotically, they will result into diploid body. So sporophyte body is formed. Alright? And this sporophyte remain attached to gametophyte. As we know, here is the female body, archegonium, and when the male comes, here the fusion takes place, here the zygote formation will happen, and from this zygote of sporophyte will develop. So this sporophyte remains attached to the, see, from the zygote. We know that from the zygote a multicellular structure, sporophyte will develop. Let me draw the structure of sporophyte like this. So this is sporophyte. Which is diploid, developed from diploid zygote, and zygote has developed from the haploid. This is haploid gametophyte. So what you see here, sporophyte remains attached to the gametophyte. Okay. Now what happens? You can see bryophyte has two stages of structure, or two types of structure. So this is a bryophyte where the bottom part is gametophyte, which is haploid, and the upper part, which is diploid, which is sporophyte. Okay, and the cells of sporophyte will mitotically divide. And now inside this sporophyte there are cells. Okay, now these cells will, here here zygote divided mitotically, but here this cell will divide meiotically. Okay, mitotically means when the cell divides mitotically, their chromosome number remains same. So zygote's diploid nature will develop into diploid sporophyte. Okay, but here sporophyte is diploid, that means these cells are diploid. So when they will divide mitotically, it will give rise to haploid cells. So from here, a haploid spores will be formed after mitotic division. Okay, after mitotic division, from this sporophyte, spores will develop, and this spores will be haploid. Okay, so please pay attention here. Mitotic division will give rise to diploid body to diploid body, whereas meiotic division, meiotically when they divide, meiotically, so they will give rise to diploid body to haploid body. Now what these spores they do, they disperse when the season is when it is a favorable season for dispersing. So they will disperse, and these spores will fall down on the ground, and from this spores, okay, all these spores which comes out from sporophyte, which is haploid now, from this haploid spores, haploid gametophyte will form. This gametophyte is haploid. Again the same life cycle will start. Okay, so that is how the bryophytes life cycle takes place. Okay, and they do the sexual reproduction in this manner. So we have done the basic nature and the structure of bryophytes. We'll come to the example of bryophytes. Example of bryophytes are mosses and liverworts. Now, what is the significance of bryophytes? Significance, importance. So, one importance we have already seen, that bryophytes, they help in plant succession. Okay, that is one important. And then some of the bryophytes like mosses, they provide food to many herbivorous animals. Okay, so you must have seen small herbivorous animals, they feed on this small plants which are attached with the ground. Okay, so mosses, they provide food for the many herbivorous animals, and mosses such as sphagnum, they are used as fuel. Okay, they are used as fuel and also as packaging material. And mosses along with lichens, mosses, we know that our soil or rock or moist soil, or the places where it is shady, in that part this mosses will grow. So you see the lichens also growing. So the soil where mosses and lichens are there together, so they do the work of decomposing also. Okay, so what kind of decomposition they do? They decompose the rocks. Okay, when they grow on the soil, over the rock, when the mosses and the lichens, they grow over the rock like a green carpet. Okay, so when these mosses and lichens grow together, they decompose the rock, and decomposing rock means making the rock soft. And when the rocks are soft, that is when the plants can develop their roots there. Okay, they help the higher plants for growing their roots over that rocks. And since they form mat like structure over the rock and soil, suppose this is the soil and over it the mosses are growing and the lichens are growing. Of course, we are not learning lichens now. Lichens are algae and fungi. Just an example was given, mosses and lichen. Right now we are seeing the example of mosses. So what are the significance we have studied? That mosses, they provide food to some herbivorous animal. Mosses, they like sphagnum, they are used as fuel. So all these are bryophytes. Mosses and liverworts, they are bryophytes. So mosses, they grow on the soil and they look like a mat or carpet, green carpet. So since they cover up the soil like this, they prevent soil erosion. That is another significance of mosses. Okay, so we'll come to the example of bryophyte. Number 1, liverwort. This is one of the example of bryophyte, liverworts. So the first, and under liverwort you study the example like Marchantia. In figure 3.2, figure A is Marchantia. Okay, the diagram which you were seeing, this plant having archegonia and antheridium, these all are liverworts. Okay, so figure 3.2 you can relate. And as we know, liverworts like bryophytes, you'll find them in moist and shady places. And their body structure is thalloid. Simplest organization, thalloid. An example is Marchantia. So figure A which you see, that is Marchantia's example. And they are dorsiventral. Dorsiventral means their dorsal part is they have dorsal part and ventral part which are attached, which are pressed to the substrate. That means whatever substrate, it can be a rock, piece of rock, or it can be a soil. So they remain attached. Okay, suppose let me draw this Marchantia like this. So they will remain attached to the rock like this, or they will remain attached to the soil like this. So this is Marchantia. Suppose this is Marchantia, and there's a piece of rock and this is soil. So they remain appressed. Alright, and the leafy part has leaf-like appendages in 2 rows. So this Marchantia, they have leafy-like structure. Okay, and they also opt for asexual reproduction. Okay, so when they opt for asexual reproduction, they go for fragmentation, as we have studied earlier in algae also, fragmentation. They divide their bodies into small fragments, and from that fragment a new individual arises. Okay, that is fragmentation. And then gamete formation. Gamete formation is, you must have seen in that figure, this is a Marchantia, and in this Marchantia these are rhizoids, a root-like structure which remains attached to the rock. Okay, and you will see small cup-like structure developing here. These are called gamma cup. So when this gamma cup detaches from the body, they are like buds. Okay, these gamma cups are like buds. Alright, asexual buds. So this gamma cup will detach from the body, and from this gamma cup a new Marchantia will develop like this. Okay, so that is gamete formation. And then they also opt for sexual reproduction, which we have already seen earlier. Alright, for sexual reproduction they have male and female sex organ, which we call antheridia. Antheridium is male organ, and antheridium archegonium is female organ, female sex organ. And these 2 organs will produce gametes. I'll not go to that again because it is the same which we have learned. So they will produce the gamete, and this gamete will fuse together to form zygote. Okay, and this zygote will develop the sporophyte, which is diploid. Zygote is diploid. From diploid zygote, diploid sporophyte will form. Whereas gametes, this male and female sex organ, they are haploid because they have developed from the haploid body gametophyte. Okay, so gametes will be haploid, and these two gametes will fuse together and will form zygote, which is diploid, and from diploid zygote, a diploid sporophyte will form. Okay, and this sporophyte structure, they have foot like this, then seta and capsule. Okay, this is capsule, this is seta, and this is foot. So they have this three part, and this capsule, inside this capsule there are spore mother cells. Okay, excuse me. So spore mother cells are present inside this capsule. So this capsule, what will happen? Recall the previous one which we have studied, the nature of bryophyte sexual reproduction. The same sexual reproduction will happen here also. So inside this capsule, the spore mother cells are present. There are cells which are present, which we call, because from this capsule spores will be formed. So the cell which produces spore, we call them spore mother cell. So this spore mother cell will go through meiosis division, meiotically we say, right? Meiosis division, they will reduce. We know that these sporophytes are diploid, so it will produce spores which will be haploid. Why? Because they do meiosis division, and we know that meiosis are reductional division. Okay, this meiosis and mitosis in detail we will study in chapter 10. So right now just keep it clear that mitosis, when mitosis division happens, the set of chromosome remains same. If the set of chromosome is 2n, diploid, so the daughter cell also will have diploid, 2n. Okay, and in meiosis division, the reductional division, if the mother cell has two set of chromosome, so it will give rise to a daughter cell with one set of chromosome. That means from diploid to haploid. Okay, so here it is, mother cell is diploid, it will give rise to haploid daughter cell, spores, and from this spores the gametophyte will develop. Okay, and what is this gametophyte? They are haploid in nature. Alright, and from this haploid gametophyte, male sex organ, female sex organ develop, and this male sex organs are haploid and female sex organs are haploid. So haploid gamete will fuse together and they will produce a zygote which is diploid. Okay, again the same cycle starts. Now we'll see, that is what liver wort was. Now we'll see the other example. Moses, second one, Moses. More or less it is the same nature. Nature is more or less same. Okay. So life cycle of the Moses has a predominant stage. Okay. It has a predominant gametophytic . Has two stages. One is called protonema stage, primary protonema stage, and the other one is secondary protonema stage. Okay, so what happens in primary protonema stage? In this stage, gametophytes develops from this spores. Gametophyte is developed from, they are developed from spores. That stage is protonema stage. So spores are haploid. So gametophyte which is developed, they will also develop into a haploid body. So spores are small, minute structure. So when they fall on the soil, from this spores, a big body, okay, so which we call gametophyte, So you must have seen when I'm drawing the structure, I'm not giving them a definite shape or structure because they are thalloid. Remember that. Because they don't have a complex organization of tissue. Thalloid structure. Okay, they are leaf-like, stem-like structure. They are not definitely structure. So this structure, this stage is called protonema stage, and this gametophyte which is formed, they have branched. Their structure can be branched and green and filamentous structure. Okay. From this, a secondary protonema will form as a lateral. Will consist of from this gametophyte. A slender structure will develop from gametophyte, which we call sex organs. Like if you remember from Moses, a slender structure develops, right? So this structure is antheridium or archegonium, depending upon the sex of that structure. So if it is female, it will be archegonium, it will be male, it will be antheridium. Okay, so this is slender structure bearing spirally arranged leaves, so attached to the soil rhizoids. Okay, so this stage bears sex organ. So this stage, so when this stage is like this, a very simple structure from the spore, a very simple structure is formed. So this is the protonema stage, and when they become like this, okay, big leaf-like structure, and from them a slender structure develops bearing a sex organ. So that is a secondary protonema stage. Okay. And mosses also, they opt for vegetative reproduction by fragmentation, by budding. Okay, and secondary and sexual reproduction by same. The liverworts sexual reproduction and sexual reproduction is same with mosses sexual reproduction and asexual reproduction. Okay, it is same. So next, the asexual reproduction in mosses is same with the liverwort. Even the sexual reproduction is same. Okay, you can go back to the liverwort. What we have studied in asexual and asexual, that is same for mosses also. Okay. Mosses, they also opt for budding in asexual reproduction. Now we'll come to the third group of plant kingdom. First group we have seen algae, second we have seen bryophytes. Now we will see the most another important group is pteridophytes. So as we are seeing first group, second group, third group, so their structure and nature will be little bit developed better. Okay, so here pteridophytes, they are the common pteridophytes which we see is horsetails and ferns. So you can refer to the diagram from 3.3. Okay, from your textbook. Refer the diagram where you will see the diagram of ferns and horsetail in 3.3. So what is the significance of this pteridophytes? Importance. Significance. Importance. So most of the pteridophytes, they have medicinal purposes. Okay, and like bryophytes, they are also attached to the soil, and since they are attached to the soil, they prevent the soil erosion. And they are ornamental. Some of the pteridophytes are beautiful, like ferns, leaves are very beautiful. So they are used for ornamental purpose. And they are the first terrestrial plant to have stem, roots and leaf. I'm sorry. They are the first terrestrial plants to have the vascular bundles. Vascular bundles means xylem and phloem. Okay, so they are the first. These are the significance of pteridophytes. First, they have medicinal purposes, they have medicinal values, and they are the soil binders, so they remain attached to the soil. So that is how the soil erosion can be prevented. And they are ornamental. Ornamental means since they appear to be beautiful, they are used for decorating purpose. And pteridophytes are the first terrestrial plant to have vascular tissues. Vascular tissues means having xylem and phloem. Water transport, food transport happens from this tissues. Habitat, where do you find them? Same place where you find the bryophytes. Cool, damp, shady places. In cool places, in damp places where mosses and lichens, which we have seen previously in bryophytes, they grow. So they also grow to that part. But you will find pteridophytes in sandy soil also. Okay. Apart from this cool, damp, moist places, you will find them in sandy soils also. Okay. And how is the body? So body has, the main body of pteridophyte is the sporophyte. Now you can relate the difference with bryophytes. In bryophytes, the main body is gametophyte. Okay, main part of the body is the gametophyte, and in pteridophyte the main part is sporophyte. So in bryophytes the main is gametophyte. From gametophyte the sporophyte develops. So whereas in pteridophytes it is the sporophyte first, and from this sporophyte the gametophyte will develop. Okay, so this sporophyte have true stem, roots and leaves. That means they actually have root and stem and leaf, but it may be small in size. Okay, so it may be small in size. So the leaves in this sporophytes can be of two types. The leaves can be of two. Some leaves are large in size, which we call macro leaves, macrophyll, which we see in ferns. And some leaves are small in size, which we call microphyll, which we find in Selaginella. These are names which I am giving, the examples. These structures you will find in figure 3.3 of your textbook. So while seeing this video, you can open your textbook and relate the diagram while we are learning. So the main body of the pteridophyte is sporophyte. The sporophyte have true stem, roots and leaf. Why they will have true stem? Because pteridophytes, we know they have vascular bundles. To have xylem and phloem, one plant must have root and stem. Bryophytes did not have true roots. Instead of roots, they have rhizoids, remember. Okay, so and instead of leaf and stem, they have leaf-like structure, stem-like structure, but they did not have a stem or leaf. Okay, so here the sporophytes are very developed. They have stem, roots, but their size is very small. Okay, when you say stem, root, leaf, they are not like trees. Okay, they are not like trees. They are very small plants with the stem and root and leaves. So the leaves can be of two nature. Some leaves are big in structure, they are called macrophyll, and some are small inside, they are called microphyll. And also sporophytes. We are again seeing under sporophytes only. This sporophytes bear. First we have seen the nature of leaf in a sporophyte. Now we will see the sporangia. They have a bag-like structure called sporangia in this leaf. The sporangia is leaf-like sporophyll. Leaf-like sporophyll, and this leaf-like sporophyll may form a compact structure which we call strobili. They may form like strobili or cone-like structure. Okay, strobili or cone. Where how does it appear? Let me show you. So here is this sporophyte having roots, true roots, having true stem, and having leaves. Okay, true leaves. This is a sporophyte. This is sporophyte. Okay, this sporophyte having a true roots, true stem, and true leaves. But in some cases, these leaves they modify and they develop like a cone. and this structure, compact structure, may be known as strawberry or may be known as cones, depending upon the type of different types of pteridophytes. Okay. So in these cones, what happens in these cones, which we are seeing, inside this cone, which we call strawberry or cones, inside these cones, spores will form. Now we know that what is the nature of sporophytes? In Bryophytes we have seen sporophytes are diploid. So it will be same for all the plants. Wherever you will find sporophyte, it will be diploid. Wherever you will find gametophyte, it will be haploid. So now this sporophyte which we are seeing here, it is diploid. So this strawberry or this leaf-like compact structure which we call, it is diploid. Now this diploid structure will go through meiosis division and it will form spores, and spores are haploid. Okay, and this spores will give rise to from these spores it will give rise to gametophyte. What are those spores? They are haploids. So from haploid, a haploid body will develop, gametophyte. Okay, which is also known as prothallus. Alright, prothallus. And this gametophyte will need a very shady place and a moist place to grow, and they will need water for fertilization. And from this gametophyte, a male gametophyte and female gametophyte will develop. Separate, okay? Separate male gametophyte and separate female gametophyte will develop. For example, so this is the main body, okay? Remember, this is the main body, sporophyte. And from this sporophyte, from this strawberry, spores are formed. And from the spores, so I'm drawing the spores here, this, all dots are spores, which are haploid. From here, the haploid gametophyte is produced. And this, there are 100 spores. And out of 100 spores, 50 spores will develop into male gametophyte, 50 will develop into female gametophyte. Okay? So these gametophytes are haploid in nature. So a very simple structure will develop from here. So male gametophyte will have male organ, male sex organ, and female gametophyte will have female sex organ, okay, having antheridia, and this will have archegonia, okay, having antheridia and archegonia. And antheridia will produce male gamete, antherozoid, and it will produce egg cell, antherozoid and egg cell, male gamete and female gamete. And this male gamete, female gamete, they are haploid because all this haploid, because they all are developing from a haploid structure, spores, haploid spores to haploid gametophyte to haploid male, haploid female, from haploid female, haploid gamete, haploid male, haploid gamete. So they will fuse, they will fertilize, and they will give rise to zygote. Now zygote is what? Diploid. Okay, remember? Now the zygote is diploid. So from this diploid body, what will develop? This sporophyte will develop. Okay, remember. The sporophyte. Why? Because zygote is diploid and the sporophyte is diploid. So from zygote, diploid body, it will go to mitosis division, and from mitosis division, this mitosis division, and it will lead to the development of this sporophyte. Okay. Alright. Now coming to this cycle we have completed. After that we will see one more thing we have to see here is the spores nature. The spores which are formed here, there are two kinds of spores formed. Okay, homospores and the spores which are formed. It can be of two kinds. Okay, homospores and heterospores. Homosporous or heterospores. means when all the spores are similar in size and shape or similar kinds. Okay, when a strawberry, we know that in sporophytes, let me do it again. So this is sporophyte, a plant having true stem, true roots and true leaf, and this leaf will develop into a cone-like structure, and from this cone spores will develop. Now this spores which comes in some sporophytes, in some pteridophytes, they produce the spores which are all same. So when all the spores are same, then it is known as homosporous. Okay, homosporous. And in some cases you will see some are big in size, some spores are big in size, and some are small in size. So when the same sporophyte will produce from their cone, they will produce the spores which are big and small in size. So that nature is known as heterosporous. Okay, so those big size spores are known as megaspores, which represents the female spores. Okay, which from where the female gametophyte will develop. And the one which is small, they are microspores, from which the male gametophyte will develop. Okay, and this male gametophyte, female gametophyte, they will form male-female gamete, and it will fuse, give rise to zygote, and from this zygote, this male gametophyte, female gametophyte, they will develop the zygote. And what is zygote refers to? Zygote refers to seed, and this seed, this zygote has a special precursor which we call seed habit, and this seed habit is a very important step for evolution. Okay, because this seed will give rise to a new individual. Our new individual determines the evolution, right? So when we bear a child, our child is contributing to the evolution. When we were born, we were contributing to the evolution. Okay, so this zygote, when they are formed, they will give rise to new sporophyte. So what is sporophyte? That sporophyte, what nature they bear, what kind of structure they bear, it is called seed habit. Okay, and that is a contribution to evolution. Alright, the classes, note down the classes of pteridophytes, important classes of pteridophytes. Psilopsida, Lycopsida, Spenopsida, and Pteropsida. That's it. The classes in detail we don't need. Okay, so here we come to the conclusion of today's class, and I would request all of you to revise thoroughly and go through the life cycle of this Bryophytes life cycle and Pteridophytes life cycle, because understanding the body structure and their habitat is easy. You might find little difficulty in understanding the life cycle. You can repeat and understand the life cycle, and even after that, if you don't understand, you can please contact me. Alright, thank you for having me here, and have a good day ahead.